on social media.
Uncle Jeff, welcome to the show tonight, man. Good to see you.
Fellas, y'all hear me good?
Yeah. What's going on, Uncle Jeff?
What's going on,
First
man?
off, very erstwhile conversation. About to prototype. I ain't seen you in a minute. Stay out of the gym. You're done. You're finished. You don't have to go back. All the weights, bro. Don't go back. I went to couples therapy with my ex-wife. And after about 3 sessions, I came in, I sat down, I opened my day planner, and I started going through my shit. And the therapist was black female, and she said, I find this disrespectful that you see us working here. I said, well, what I'm trying to do is be very respectful, because it seems like it gets slowed down. The whole session gets slowed down when I talk, because that's exactly when y'all want to talk. So I'm going to sit here and y'all let me know when y'all finish. Because this really isn't about me. The only time this is about me is when you two agree on something I'm wrong about. So I'm cool with it. This is the state's money. I got some other shit I need to do. But we're not really here for our problems. Because if we were, you would at least hear out my side. And it's hard, and what nobody wants to point at. And this is not to say that therapy doesn't work. I got to push back on therapy from YouTube, our pain, because there are people who watch us, and this is their therapy. This is their wisdom. This is where they get their advice. I believe that more than a team is whoever you're getting your therapy from has to agree with what your standards are. Okay, I'm not your religion. Your standards, the standards of fairness, the standards around forgiveness, grief, regret, conflict resolution. And not what you say the book says, not what you say the standard says, and then once we get into it, you take one side or another. Sometimes the therapist is taking the other person's side because your monkey ass is wrong. Sometimes you're just wrong. So I say that it's had it help me, but not couples therapy. Couples therapy, again, like you said, works with a person or a couple. I ain't going to a dentist with raggedy mouth. Couples. I mean, if you have the same standard as Mr. and Mrs. Arpain, and you are young, therapy has sitting down and talking to them, having first the lady talk to the man talk to the lady, then switch roles. Then all 4 of us meet back in the room, and with love we speak. I think if that young couple really wants to be together, and they really have the same standards as our Payne and Mrs. Payne, they got a shot. If any of that is different, if the man got the standards and the woman don't, or if the woman got the standards and the man don't, this ain't got a chance at fucking that. How is, and I'll say this, I'll land the plane. How the hell is Mrs. Payne gonna tell you about chastity and respect, and you came in here with your ass out? That's not even her job. Her job is to give you guidance on a road that the 4 of you are on. You ain't on me and my husband's road, and I ain't mad at you, but we going this way. So this isn't gonna work until all of our standards are on the same page. I think I've made my point. I'll shut up.
All right. Now, what I want to do right now is hop into the video and start the video. And Mr. McPherson will be here soon. He just texted me. And I want to start. What's up, Coach Ferg? What's going on, man? What's going on? Good to see you, my brother. All right, so let me start this here.
How you doing, man? Can you hear me? Am I sounding okay?
You sound good, brother.
You sound good, man. All right, let's see.
I ain't want to slip in and we ain't acknowledge
Yeah, you don't sound light skinned at all.
Yes, I do.
All right, here we go.
Ah, dang.
Guys, I need y'all to hear me clearly because what I'm about to say is going to make some therapists very uncomfortable. Therapy was never neutral. It was hijacked. And I'm not just talking. Let's start with a licensed therapist who's worked with real men, military, street guys, leaders.
For a lot of men, their ability to genuinely feel better about the problems in their life is when the problem is identified. They're given steps and instructions on how to resolve it, and the issue and problem is resolved. For women, sometimes they want the issue resolved, but a lot of times their healing, validation, and their feeling of catharsis is just by the nature of being heard, being seen. And sometimes they'll feel better even when the issue that they were referencing or talking about doesn't even go away or change.
That right there, that's the problem. Therapy today expects emotional performance, not real masculine energy. Now check this out. A 20-year attorney who took time to study some political strategies around men during the previous presidential race revealed how male psychology wasn't funded to help men. It was studied to leverage them.
Democratic Party is destroyed. They are now spending $20 million of our tax dollars to learn how to speak to men.
The Democratic Party appears to still be in fact-finding mode. The New York Times reports that party donors and strategists have been gathering at luxury hotels to discuss how to win back working-class voters. And they're spending $20 million on an effort to try to figure out how to speak to young men. Quote, "It is codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan."
You know what? I'm not surprised this was a play.
If you have to spend $20 million to figure out what men want, then you really don't deserve to represent men in this country. I don't know what is going on with this world anymore.
What pains me the most about this play by the Democrats is that when I saw so many black women voting for that side, it dawned in on me that one or two things could be true. A lot of black women don't understand men, or they're blindly supporting a party that doesn't.
There is a huge political party in this country trying to convince men that they are not anti-men. And Lord knows these Democrats choose some of the most insane stances to go to war over. But let's back up. What specifically are the Democrats looking for in investing this $20 million?
The Speaking with American Men plan promises to invest in syntax and language to connect with men. It also recommends advertising in video games and avoiding a moralizing tone.
That is crazy because I thought there was a hatred toward men, especially adult men, for playing video games.
Oh, now this is ironic. Now they're going to embed advertisements in video games. How many times have men been demonized for gaming? Heaven forbid that a man works hard all day long and wants to come home and decompress by gaming a little bit. Men have been told for years that playing video games is childish and a waste of time. But now look who wants to place ads in the middle of Call of Duty, hoping to reach these same men that they have insulted for so long. These Democrats should just come right out and say that they do not like men. They want the feminization of this country, and they label any masculine trait as toxic. They tell boys that being competitive is wrong and that ambition is oppressive and that fatherhood is optional. Democrats now want to convince men that we should feel guilty for being real men at all.
So it wasn't about healing. It was about managing male behavior for control. And we didn't even know we were paying for this level of manipulation. And it gets worse. A gender expert, the kind the government consults, wrote a book that dug deep into male psychology. And the truth in it was so uncomfortable, publicists were too afraid to do one thing.
You wrote a book called Of Boys and Men, Why the Modern Male is Struggling and Why It Matters and What to Do About It. Of all the things you could have done, why?
Partly because I was warned so strongly against it by my colleagues, by friends, by professionally, just saying this is such a difficult subject to write about, particularly right now in this sort of moment we're in culturally. And it was very hard to get a publisher in the US for the book. And so it was interesting to me that this whole debate was one that was just seen as too risky to enter. And I honestly thought, well, hang on, if I, as a fairly boring guy with charts and research, am being warned against this, who is going to talk about it? And are we sure that it's better that those other people are talking about it and that we're not talking about it? We're basically benching ourselves from the conversation because of our fear about what's going to happen to us professionally or reputationally. We're basically benching ourselves, and that just leaves the ground open. And if you think there's a real issue around boys and men, real questions around boys and men, it's not like it's not going to be talked about. That's not the question. The question is, who's talking about it? And I actually thought, we need more people like me talking about it.
Guys, this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm in this space, because I cannot turn my back to the dangerous and destructive narratives that is being pushed online.
But it's almost like it wasn't a topic that you were supposed to approach unless you were willing to risk something. And that just seems crazy to me.
Now, if you're a woman who likes to champion the concept, I don't need a man, I don't need you, you need to know the damage that it can do.
They're struggling. They're behind in education. Wages have stagnated. You're seeing a massive rise of young men who are single, and now the suicide rate is 4 times higher and rising. They looked at the words that men used to describe themselves before taking their own lives. And the 2 most commonly used words were useless and worthless. And the most fatal place to end up in as a human being is to feel unneeded.
Ladies, now that you know the damage that does, I'm interested to know if you will A, stop saying you don't need us, or B, continue saying that knowing the harm and destruction it causes. If you're a woman who would choose B, let me remind you how powerful it makes a man feel when he is needed. Given a short example.
Guy gets a text while he's chatting to him and he bursts into tears. That gets really tearful. And Arthur says, is everything all right? Did you get some bad news? You know, what's happening? Is this bad news? And he said, no, it's the opposite. And he showed the text to Arthur. And the text just said, Fred, can you get over here as soon as possible? I really need you. And the guy said to Arthur, I've never heard anyone say that sentence to me before. I've never had anyone say to me, I need you.
Something simple as that. But just knowing we are needed is significant.
And in this case, it was, I need you to come and, I don't even know what it was, right? Fix this floor tile, deal with this customer. I don't know, but I need you. And it brought this guy to tears because he hadn't kind of felt that sense of neededness before. And
I pray that this changed your mind. And this is just one strong example of what men go through and how expecting therapy to be able to restore us, unfortunately, is not something to be hopeful for. Now look, if you're failing to put the puzzle pieces together so far, basically men aren't avoiding therapy because they're scared of healing. They're avoiding it because the structure was never built for them. I mean, think about it. Should we expect anything different when the fact is that 75% of therapists are women? I didn't know that, but now that I do, I can see how feminists may have taken up careers as a therapist to control the narrative on that side, which means you may not even know that your therapist could be an undercover misandrous. I mean, think about it. They can't beat us physically, they can't outwork us, so what do? Create a barrier for mental health. Okay, up ahead, we're breaking down exactly how therapy was hijacked, who benefits, why men leave, and what actually works instead. And don't worry, it's not Miss Cheyenne Bryant. It's not a YouTuber with no credentials. This time, it's an actual qualified expert who is a licensed therapist with 12 years of experience, verified by Psychology Today. But before we do that, real quick, I always found it fascinating that most people who watch this content are not subscribed and they don't have the notification bell set up. If you like and subscribe, this tells YouTube that this content is valuable enough to be promoted to more people, which could potentially result in more awareness for men and women so we can get closer to making the right changes. And be sure to grab the copies of the free ebooks I provided for you. Links in the description. So, do you believe therapy has been feminized? And if so, has that made men less likely to seek help or even trust therapists?
People can use the word feminized. I will say it definitely has feminist leanings and it's female dominated by default. But it includes men and women who are pushing a particular way of communication, a particular way of, I'll say it this way. For a lot of men, their ability to genuinely feel better about the problems in their life is when the problem is identified. They're given steps and instructions on how to resolve it, and the issue and problem is resolved. That is how men feel better. For women, sometimes they want the issue resolved, but a lot of times their healing, their validation, and their feeling of catharsis is just by the nature of being heard, being seen. And sometimes they'll feel better even when the issue that they were referencing or talking about doesn't even go away or change. It's just the idea that somebody finally hears me. I'm allowed to vent. The issue with that is if you bring those two parties with those two problem-solving techniques into play, if one side is trying to keep bringing up the same thing over and over, I know we've been talking about this for the last 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months. And the other side is like, all right, you gonna forgive me or not? We gonna fix this or not? You're in a situation where the therapist will struggle if they don't recognize what I'm talking about. They will pick a side of who they're going to prioritize, and one side will feel validated and the other side will not. So unfortunately for a lot of men, it's very difficult for them to come across a therapist, let alone a male therapist, who already knows what I'm talking about and is able to acknowledge what both parties tend to need in real time. So men's perspective is, if what I'm going through in the house is another version of that just being tag team, I'm good. And that's, for a lot of men, that's unfortunately their experience. So yeah.
It's funny you say that, because I hear a lot of guys saying men don't need to go to therapists. They just need to go to other brothers who have the outcomes that they're trying to achieve to figure out if those guys can teach them how to get around the challenges and obstacles. But I think those guys in deeply, they believe that, yeah, if I go to therapy, she's just going to be an expert version of my wife to tell me that, yeah, go listen to your wife. Happy wife, happy life. And it's funny you say that. And the thing about the women, because I've run into this with, in relationships with women, and now that I'm married, I noticed that I had to learn specifically what you just stated about. It's not always conducive to go and attack the problem and just rectify it and solve the problem. You're dealing with a woman who wants to get you to try to embrace and understand the sensitivity of the situation, her feelings. And regardless if you can fix the problem, I want to know, do you know how I feel? And I started to learn that in a lot of occasions, that's all that really matters. The problem can be, the house can burn down. But do you know how the smoke, do you know how it feels to be able to just let it stop?
Yeah, man. So it's wildly frustrating, but what I will say, and I'm speaking to men when I say this, I'm learning it too. I'm living it in real time. And learned and I'm learning that our refusal to acknowledge that need is why there's such a massive disconnect and why they end up leaving. So if we don't get that piece, that, and again, this is the same with women, but like, if we don't acknowledge that they are not us, they don't see it like us, they're not going to completely see it like us, they're not even going to feel about it the same way we do. Both sides have to figure out a way of, you know what, this is a moment where I am going to set aside my need for yours and hope that once your need is fulfilled, you can do the same for me. That's the challenge, is figuring out what does my wife or girlfriend need in this moment, and who's going to take the initiative to initiate catering to the need of the other party with the assumption that eventually it will be returned.
You've seen the numbers. You heard the experts. This isn't a conspiracy. This is a system failure. Therapy today was hijacked by political funding, academic gatekeeping, and a structure that misunderstands male psychology. But here's the truth. Men aren't broken. Your instincts are real. And you don't need to cry on command to get better. We need new frameworks. Therapy that respects masculine processing. Additionally, we need mentorship from men in a system that serves the way men recover. Think about it. 75% of therapists are women, and it shows. Society is collapsing not because men are absent, but because when they do speak up, they're being counseled by misanders in disguise. Therapists trained to pathologize masculinity instead of restoring it. The result? Men check out. They avoid therapy. They bottle it up or blow up. But a study from Frontiers in Psychiatry just exposed the truth. When men receive therapy built specifically for them, not filtered through feminist fragility, outcomes skyrocket. Over 50% improvement in depression, longer retention, and actual healing. That's because men need mentorship, brotherhood, standards, not emotional scripts designed to neuter them. Male mentorship and male-specific therapy aren't optional anymore. They're the firewall for society, for sons, for legacy. Every man should be warned. The wrong therapist will convince you your instincts are toxic. The right mentor will teach you how to master them and lead. So if we want men to heal, we've got to stop handing them a feminine roadmap to recovery. That is why I create the content I have been creating for years, and I will continue to pray for and support Jeff St. James, a trusted therapist who men and women can get the right help from. And if you think this video was wild, wait till you see how they try to cancel Jeff St. James just for telling the truth. See you on the next one.
You're on mute, B. I'm mute.
I didn't even say nothing yet. I just, I want to.
I saw them lips winding up. They were two lips like, hold on now.
All right, man. I appreciate him for that video. When I watched it the first time, I was like, man, we got to do a show on this for sure. So man, the floor is open for this discussion. What are you guys' thoughts? Coach Ferry, we'll start with you since you hadn't had a say yet. After watching that, what are you taking from our brother Darren?
Man, where was all that at, man? And 15 years ago when I was needing brothers like that to pop up, man. But just to tie it all in, man, I think brothers need a group therapy session, several group therapies to be around other brothers to sort of all get a different point of view of how to sort of navigate a problem. It gives you more plays in your playbook. And, and you need some, on all males, because how it ties into the mentorship, that's all I did. Put them in that group. They all had little different twerks and issues and misunderstandings and not enough information. And once they all started to pass the correct information through each other, it sort of motivates you and elevates you to sort of think past certain things in life. And when it comes to the women, it put you in a mindset where you're not chasing the woman, but those messages have to come from, I ain't a shit dude. I'm a no shit dude, right? So I can still give a good message to somebody, and only reason I ain't no good because I'm telling myself I ain't no good. I'm not, what I'm saying? And I made some mistakes, and I'm just saying we go through it. We make some mistakes in life, bad decisions with women, bad decisions on ourselves, but you survive that. And the young man don't have somebody consistently telling them that they're smart, they're talented, and giving them direction as far as responsibility. And what I found out when I started putting young men together and allowing them to talk about relationships, girls, people forcing them to be in gangs, people forcing them to smoke, have sex, all of the peer pressures that they go through, and they realize, oh, we go through the same thing. So now we can hold each other accountable, and we can see like, it starts allowing them to use their peripheral vision, is what I call it, where you can see things coming from the side and you don't have to touch everything that come to you in life, because life is a forever ending journey. And it's important, especially now. I think this is what YouTube is doing. What I'm starting to see slowly but surely, brothers are getting the message coast to coast. We all in a different state. If we was to draw a road map to where everybody's at, it'd probably be what, a 5-day road trip. So I think that that's helping going forward. But we old niggas, we all got gray. The young men need to see. We need the brothers to go into the spaces where the young men are. They ain't gonna come to you. You got to go to them. They in certain spaces. They in schools, some in churches, some are sitting out there on the court. But and it ain't about what they should do. It's about what they already have the ability to do. They just need a roadmap, a road book, you know what I'm saying, a little playbook. It seems hard, but it's not. But it takes a man to be patient. You have to have patience to work with young minds who've already been told before they even turn 15 that you ain't shit. You ain't shit and your daddy ain't shit. You ain't gonna be shit. Even when you go outside, even the people that don't look like us, what, they pointing at you like, do something, I'm gonna take you out of here. But, you know, that's just me, man, in my experience. I think, you know, I got anything anybody need to sort of put their stuff together, man. But I think, again, YouTube is helping brothers mind things out, and that's a good thing. It's 15 years too late. But it's still right on time, though, because the brothers that get the message and start putting their thoughts and processes together and start living, moving, life is an adverb. It's an action. You have to always be doing something. You'll start seeing it when you get old and ugly like me. You know, the Democratic handout way is over. No more handouts. Every man gonna have to put on their bootstraps. If you don't wear a belt, you gotta get you a belt.
I gotta throw a flag on one play, the ugly part, because I'm sure I am older than you, and I am a pretty man. I'm not. I can't carry that ugly shit. I pray for ugly people. I keep them. Oh, wait a minute. The man is here himself.
I'm handsome. Shout out to Darren,
Oh,
man.
that's
Darren,
stuff, bro.
shout out to Gen Xers, man. Y'all better listen to Gen
what's up?
You got on the same outfit.
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas?
Absolutely.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Darren?
Surprise, man.
So we just got through watching your video that was well put together, brother. So shout out to you. And we were just discussing it while we were waiting for you to come in about this this toxic feminist therapy that's a trap for men. And now that you're here, I definitely want to hear, you know, with the research that you've done, tell us more about how therapy is not a good thing for men, why it's dominated more by women.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of secret stuff that's going on, a lot of evil things going on behind the scenes that hasn't really been brought to light. But we know that a lot of women are raising these kids, and we're pretty much stripped. We have a single mother epidemic, and on the front end, the women are raising the kids, and we're unequipped. The young boys are unequipped with masculinity or the tools they need necessary to have the skills to be able to progress and be efficient in the world. And then on the back end, where you go and try to get healed or heal from the trauma that you received from being with a single parent, now you're getting a double whammy. You're getting a woman across the table telling you that, hey, look, you don't need those tools. So it's really a trap. So the only way out of the trap is literally to find a male therapist who hasn't been feminized, who still showcase those or instill those masculine principles, or even find a mentor, a male mentor that signifies those outcomes or the results that you want to achieve in your life. It's very deep, man, and it's becoming to be more exposed because a lot of male therapists in the industry are coming out and speaking out against it. And that's how we are able to know, because we don't want to just run with this information without, knowing what's actually going on. And you got therapists out here that are licensed, that are willing to lay it all on the line and risk, losing their practice.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. McPherson tonight? Because I mean, this is a deeper conversation. A lot of men, when you showed the dropout, when you showed the scene where it's a dropout of men coming out of therapy, that is absolutely true. Men go and they feel like therapy is like church today. Men don't go to church, men don't go to therapy because they don't feel inclusion. They don't feel as if they're part of it. It's bias. But anybody else got anything they want to say?
There are some other forms of therapy that I think men are taking up.
Hold on, Rogish. Hold on. Prototype was top in first. Right after Prototype, then you go, Rogish. Go ahead.
So one thing I have been seeing popping up though, and this is truly I think what men are seeking the therapy is like these men groups where they go off and like learn warrior skills. I've seen a lot of those different versions pop up where we learn how to hunt, we learn how to shoot, we're learning how to do combat, man versus man, kind of warrior survival in the weak, in the cold. Men are finding their way to a healthier version of themselves, right? I guess we're only aiming at that sit on the couch type therapy, which that's not how men function, right? And even in young boys, that's just not how we get things out. Even when we're young, we're looking to be outside for a release. You know what I mean? We can't wait for recess. You know what I'm saying? So we can go play tag or football or hoop. And that's to kind of like balance us from sitting all day. You understand what I'm saying? So I think we're getting a message of go seek therapy. But I think we're doing a semi-good job of finding our own avenues, and even platforms like this, finding our own avenues to get in the help we truly need, right? Because just like you said, therapy is like the church. Don't nobody want to sit there under that kind of situation. So.
And that's why it's important for guys like us in this space to come together and continue to do what we do, because if we didn't have us, I mean, where would guys go to be able to get the truth, to be able to look in the mirror and see a representation of who they're supposed to be, or somebody saying it's okay to be man. It's okay to be aggressive. It's okay to have all that energy. You don't have to tuck it inside. That's why it's important for us to continue to do what we do.
If I may, I'm probably the only one here spoken right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and again prove to you the level of shit that I smoke. Gentlemen, without question, this represents the awakening of Black mankind. What you are viewing right now, I tell you, I think I'm second oldest up here, 60. The brothers that talk like this 30 years ago, people made fun of. That was kind of a throw at Damon Wayans was doing with his character in prison. He was basically making fun of the seek for higher knowledge, the intellectual that isn't made the Ivy League way. There is that's the only pushback I got on what you're saying, Brother Darwin, to jump out into the future. There is no better therapy for you. What is right here and right now with Black men who are articulate, intelligent, respectful of one another, regardless of who they believe in as a higher power or may not believe one. They follow the tenets of what is righteous in their hearts. And they are educated men who see the difference between being educated and being European. You're having a European indoctrination. That is all therapy is going to lend you from a therapist's lens, unless he is purposely disconnected from what he is taught. Prime example, I'll say this, I land the plane. I am in a family full of very, very classy Black women. That's why I don't allow people to talk about all sisters. There was a birthday party for one of our younger ones this last weekend. And the little dude, the littlest dude amongst us lions, decided to have a tantrum on my time. I scooped him up, brought him downstairs screaming right past the ladies. What's wrong? None of your business. And took him downstairs and in the garage with the rest of the lions. And we held court with him at 4 years old. That is what we are supposed to do. And there is nobody, and yeah, I'll land with this. The harshest shit in the world is a gang of us ain't gonna make it. Gang of us ain't gonna make it. This is not the time to go looking. The brothers who are supposed to counsel will find you. They looking for you. They hungry for you. That old ass nigga shit that you hear from other dudes, let them fry. Look for the ones that come to you. I'll leave it there.
All right, Darwin, you want to respond to that? Then we'll let Rogish jump in there.
No, I got no response. I appreciate the brother's perspective.
Absolutely. Rogish, you have something you want to say?
You muted, Rogish.
You got a delay.
I'm trying to.
Okay, while he's working on that.
Can I ask him a question though? Real quick. Brother Darwin, man, I heard you mention, mentoring and things like that, man. Is there something, man, that you think, well, I would like to talk with you, man, because I got some stuff, man, that sort of already fits the mold of what you're talking about at a young adult, teenage level that really allows them to sort of put your information, man. I'm telling you, man, I don't want to share too much, man, because I can really, you know what I'm saying? I just want to be in the background. I can help show you how to set it up, man. And there's big money out there for anybody. I say it all the time, man. The brothers need to see brothers showing up. The younger brothers, man, when you show up, that's when you build the trust. But yeah, man, there's money out there. There's millions of dollars out there for programs that, incentivize young male growth and leadership. But
absolutely, I do the mentoring. I do really one-on-one, with people, and I do have a circle of friends that I just do group. It's actually a couple of guys that I went to college with, and we come together and we just do research on a lot of things. Some of those guys are in tech, some of the guys in cybersecurity, and I just happen to be on YouTube in the relationship niche. So they always make fun of me for some reason because I'm the oddball. But because of my intellect, I've been able to hold it down and just stay, fenced in with those guys. But most definitely I would talk to you all offline about some type of mentorship thing that we can build. What I want to do is I kind of want to try to reach out to some of these colleges to try to get something to hold to some of these young men. I don't know if
but you can get it straight from the government.
You know what? That might be the thing. I might have to do some research on it because what I'm picturing is being able to go to like Georgia Tech or University of Georgia.
Okay.
And just
you can do all that.
I may be of some assistance there. And I'll throw this out just to you right in front of everybody. You need to get yourself in contact with NACA, the National Association of Campus Activities. Okay, this is what they have a lot of times are these NACA conferences, and they'll have them regional. Like Ileana is a region. The southeast, southwest. Those are regions where scores of colleges come, and in one weekend you could book 100 colleges. What I think the direction you might want to go in would be looking for those who focus on HBCUs and HBCUs, and don't ever turn down guilty white folks' money. So look up. This is the person you always want to look for. This is the true north of all of this shit. The Director of Student Activities. Look up the DSA. You can find a DSA list. There's a DSA list that's updated ever so often. I don't know who has it. It's been years since I did colleges, but that was those two roads. Those are main veins, brother. And I would strongly suggest, and any other thing I can help you with, whatever. But yeah, start there.
All right. Let me address this super chat real quick. What We Know podcast. Thank you, man, for the $5 super chat. He says, allow me to expose my colon once again. Pause. The ramification inflicted on the incision. Oswald Bates, man. Thank you so much. What We Know podcast. Make sure y'all tune into What We Know podcast on this Wednesday. There's a show coming up on this network, so y'all make sure y'all tune in to that. But Rogesh, I think you got a real bad delay over there, brother. Hopefully, you can go ahead and try to ask your question right now. We'll see if it's corrected itself.
All right, muted. All right, there we go. My apologies. I don't know what's going on over here. My question is, when it comes to psychiatry, at what point does culture play an essential part in how the assessment goes? Because I've been to maybe three or four different therapists, right? And one thing that they put up a fight against is you presenting a black man's reality within the United States and dealing with all of the, the anti-black social order and, systematic factors that may be present. They start defending the very same system. So I'm thinking, all right, so what are you trying to do? You're trying to get someone, I guess, drone-minded enough to where they just go about and just do what they won't let your drugs do within this damn system or something? You know what I mean? Culture needs to play a point. But it doesn't seem like it does. It seems like there's some type of objective thing that is outside of a reality that anybody is living, that they hold people towards.
Can you reframe that question? Because you said a lot, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly what you want me to answer.
Well, the thing is, how much does culture play a part? Because perhaps maybe the reason why there's there's no space for black men within therapy is because what they receive as therapy isn't really something that's going to assist them with what they have to deal with within the social structure. Most of the time, therapy is designed to get someone readjusted so that they can reinsert themselves back into the status quo of the social structure and social order, right? But there are anti-black things that are present that, therapists, I don't know if there's any way of them combating that or receiving that, but most of the time I receive a fight. I receive a defense on behalf of the very same social order that could be causing the maladaptation.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't say there's no obstacles. I would say there's a lot of, first of all, from my understanding, and I spoke to a guy named Kosher Clinician on my channel last night in a live stream. And he was speaking about how, well, there's a lot of black people in it. It wouldn't be necessarily black men, though. Having a black man coming into the therapy industry or whatever, as a practitioner is like a unicorn. Because most of them don't. Most of the guys are going for STEM. They're going for careers that are more hands-on and yield, more wages as far as work if they do go to college. But nobody, you never hear men just talking about what they want to be. We're focused on sports and manly things. But I wouldn't say there's a wall, a cultural wall, or that's prohibiting it or deterring people away from it. People just don't have the interest in wanting to go into the field. And I think if more men or more black men realize the disproportionate amount of, I guess, help or services they're getting for their trauma, maybe they may be more inclined to go into the field. But I don't know why it's been kept quiet like this. I guess because people don't feel like it should be spoken about, but it's so many people in this space that speak about the things we need to be able to move forward. I just don't understand why this never came up. So, and I don't call myself a therapist, by the way. I just had the luxury of speaking to a couple of them, and been doing the research on the psychology side because I've been trying to understand the mindset more instead of the aesthetics. Because, you know, if y'all all know me, whenever I came into this space, I was focused more on fashion, men's fashion style, leveling up, the data market and all that stuff. But then I start trying to tap into the mindset. Okay, where's the mind at? Then it draw me towards the guys who are on the therapeutic side, on the psychology side, on the behavioral side, on the biological side. So I do not know for sure. I can't really answer you on if there are any hurdles or any prevention or any defense against the cultural side. It looked like our pain from his finger.
Yeah, I do have something, an extension on this. It may not be a hurdle, but there is an opportunity for Black men in certain fields because there's a scarcity. If there's a scarcity of Black men in therapy, then when you break into that market, you could start to name your own price because it's rare. Just like when they say there's a scarcity of Black male sperm in sperm banks. That $300 they pay people, shit, give me $500, give me $1,000, because I understand that is a high demand for it. So I'm just using that as an example. School teachers, I think if Black men wanted to be school teachers, it would raise the bar on how much they get paid because it's a scarcity, and nobody could deny that there's a necessity. So the law of supply and demand works in a lot of ways, and a lot of people don't think about that shit, right? So you could be setting the bar higher because, hey, you know what? Black engineers is not as prevalent, but hey, a Black therapist who's still a man, you know what I'm saying? A heterosexual man. I like women, and I'm a therapist, right? Let's get that shit straight. So when you talk to me, I'm gonna talk to you like a man, right? If I'm a school teacher, I'm a goddamn man. I don't go for it. So I think I'm going to land it here. I just think that the supply and demand can be leveraged by Black men in fields where we're scarce. And I think that's an untapped resource.
I think culturally, Unc, you want to go first?
No, go ahead, man. No, go ahead.
I'll be quick. I think culturally, as we sit in the Black community, I think we're taught that women have the answers. We're supposed to go to women to get therapy. We're taught that, you know, we're supposed to learn from women. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be mothering us. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're in a matriarchy, you know, in the Black community, as you might add. You know what I'm saying? So culturally, like if a man doesn't have his hand on you, one that you know what I'm saying? Being that we're so single parent, you know, home led in our community, if a man personally don't have his hand on you, I think we're driven away from the idea that therapy might be our calling. You know what I'm saying? And those men that do go against the grain or kind of, you know, effeminate, you know what I'm saying? If they dive into that space, and, you know, little Black boys with that much testosterone don't see themselves in those kind of guys, or much like preachers. We don't see ourselves in the preachers of today. You know what I'm saying? Because those guys, their hands is too soft. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things, like, where culturally I don't think we don't aim for it because we don't know we're supposed to even go for anything like that. But go ahead, On.
Okay, first, let this be a shining example. Dear people who will watch us talk shit, dear white folks that watch us low key and try to clown us for sport, you sit up with your homies. What you are looking at when all of this shit collapses, how you watch you watch sci-fi movies and you watch Star Wars or Star Trek, movies about the future. The shit hits the fan at some point, and the main character have to go see the wise men. It's at the beginning of Act 2 of every action movie you've ever seen. We are wise men in the future. We are it. This shit's about to hit the fan hard, gentlemen. And what we are doing right now is developing the creed and the policies that will be mandatory to move forward. When there's no, look at the safety net that has been taken outside of society, that has been being taken away right now. And y'all, and loss of BMU, reel my monkey ass back in if I get too far left. Look at, there's no more safety net. To put it in the Bible, this is my belief that God has left his goodness on this earth, but he has taken his mercy. If you're smart enough to follow him, you're good. If you're not, you're not suffering fools no more. That means foolish behavior, foolish people, foolish patterns. Bro, that's in the French fry grease. This is what it's going to take to make it. This is what we spreading around. We now have to look, fellas. Everybody here represents intelligence to somebody around you. With whatever happened next, they gonna find you. And that's how this shit gonna start. And I really, y'all can go back. I'm gonna pop my collar here real quick. You can go back to me with Zoe Williams on the Foxhole back in 2009 or 8. And we were speaking of this time. And you could drop the needle anywhere in that. And it sounds like prophecy as we went along. I am telling you. With what happened next, y'all need to buckle up into them groups I was talking about. Because that's, oh yeah, only a fool lets his oppressor teach his children. No business. We have no business getting upset about what's taught in the school that was taught against you. How the hell are you making white folks responsible for your history? It's yours. Be responsible for it and make it mandatory to be studied in your house.
All right, we got Beans in the building tonight. He hadn't said much. Beans, what are your thoughts on what you heard so far? Are you have any questions for Dar?
No, I don't have any questions. I mean, I kind of came to that conclusion about therapy a couple of years ago. And it was really because when I had a situation where me and my old lady was having conversations with two different, quote unquote, one therapist, one relationship coach. And I realized that neither one of them was willing to tell her, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. No, that wasn't right. No, that's incorrect. No, he's right. Neither one of them was willing to do that, you know? And it was this thing about, oh, well, you know, it's, you know, you want to keep people engaged and you want to keep, no, you want to keep people coming back because you want to try to make some money, you know? So you don't want to say anything. And then lo and behold, a few years later, essentially last year, you had several quote unquote therapists, quote unquote relationship coaches come out. All of the ones I seen were female, saying they didn't even want to deal with women anymore because the women, when it came time for them to have a conversation about their role in the relationship or take accountability or something, they would get defensive. They would stop coming. Even the husband would still want to come, but the wife wouldn't, or girlfriend or whatever. So sometimes we, you know, the point is we all get to the same conclusion sometimes with different experiences. The video that Mac did, he used literal evidence, evidence that everybody can go and find, right? To highlight a problem with this particular market. I didn't even know that about the 70% number of therapists being women. And so you pick that, and then you add in my anecdotal, right? And then you add in what you see outside, and you come to the same conclusion. And ironically, Mac, it's the same thing with the school system. 80% of teachers are women. Mm-hmm. And
I believe I'm correct on this. 80% of that number is white.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So even the black students are having to deal with a plethora of white teachers, you know. So it's just I don't see it working, right? Discussing it, talking about it as it pertains to women. I know there are men who are learning something, gaining something from this. But the application, my friends, I don't actually see it working. I don't see men taking the things that they are learning from the quote unquote, you know, manosphere, red pill, males advocate channels, whatever you want to call them. And then I'm applying them in their lives and to their relationships, and it works. All I see is when men do that, they end up alone. So I can appreciate all of the information. I really do, you know. But I just don't know if it's beneficial to us as a whole at this point. The women do not seem to be changing. It's like whatever we come out with, they just come out with a rebuttal. It's never, oh, we were doing that. Oh man, and then you provided all this evidence to show that we was doing. Oh man, then you got all this evidence of us doing the same thing that you said. You know what? Let us change. It don't seem to be happening, man.
You know what? It was almost disappointing that, I mean, it sounds like throughout history, and I don't know what your religion y'all is. I'm just thinking that maybe most know it, but it seems like throughout history we've been told that you cannot rely on women to fill those voids necessary for a developing society. It has to be some type of male oversight. But I think we as men, and that might not be us, it may be the powers to be, whoever, you know, laid back on the control, to just allow it to get like this, thinking that we could actually rely on women to be able to continue to keep men strong, keep masculinity instilled in boys. So I think we lost. I don't know what happened, but we actually thought that we can count on our women, and we wanted to be able to. I think we wanted to be able to count on women because we built this society. You know, men went to World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, and killed over to just turn up and 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, their kids are being told by the girls out on the streets that they don't need men. Like it's almost a slap in the face, but somewhere we just thought that I think our women over here got it and they're gonna take care of us, but we were wrong.
Right. What are we talking about? Salute to the correct man.
I agree with everything you just said. That goes to that culture thing I was speaking about earlier, and I think that's what Rogish,
I
think that's what he was speaking to. Like culturally, we were developed in a different way. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, yeah, go to church, but the women got it. You know, like I said, unless a man had his direct hand on you in raising you, man, we came up lost.
They don't have it because the way that they're directing the children is so that they more adhere to the system. A black woman don't want their child to get A's for the sake of that child having a highly qualitative developed intelligence. A black woman wants their child to get A's so that they don't look bad at everybody else who's getting A's and good grades or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not for the sake of the child. So the thing is, black people as a whole still kind of raise their children like it's pre-emancipation. You don't raise your child for the sake of the child. You raise your child for the sake of the system, be holding onto it so that they don't fuck up. And it's like, all right, what kind of existence in that? What kind of value do you give that? Where are you placing the value? That's why I asked the question that I asked when it comes to psychology, psychiatry, whatever. There is a cultural element that plays a highly influenced factor within it, right? And the way that is currently set up, a black man is not going to get any solution out of that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all better run the fuck away from that.
I got a question for you, Rogish. See, because what you just said, I agree with. But one of the things is that people need a frame of reference. I don't know how you got your enlightenment, right? Sometimes it comes on as a revelation without any outside influence. And sometimes somebody told you something that stuck. Like, for example, I'm a baby boomer. I was raised where men used to come home and give their money to their women. And I was young and nobody told me. I said, I'm never going to do that for you.
No.
Nobody told me that. Nobody told me that. You know, I don't know. Nobody told me. I said, I'm never going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I had two,
you know,
I had two pimping ass uncles that took me on the wing, like
you know,
at first grade.
Just to be serious, I'm trying to say, one of the things that we get stuck with, because sometimes you just need a frame of reference or some kind of just a spark that you listen to. And what you just said, I like, but the average, obviously, the average black man raised under the matriarchy, who's still controlled by the patriarchy, by the way. Right. But they don't get that. Where do you get that cultural, you know, that thing? How do you do it if they never heard it? You know what I'm saying? If it's not a self-revelation.
You got to ask yourself what your value is, what your value is out of all of this. That's for everything. Both of my pimping ass uncles taught me this at a very young age. I was way too young to be late for them to be trying to lace me how they would lace me, but I was a shrewd cat. I've always been a shrewd cat. You know what I'm talking about? And
where you from?
They put now, North Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh,
You feel me? So the thing is, they laced me very early on. I was looking that I first judged them and not judged the game. I was judging pimping as being something that's bad, right? But it took, I don't know, maybe 7 years later, whatever. It hit me that, wait a minute though, it's only present because they're supplying the demand. What is if the demand is so bad, then now you got to look at the quality of the people within the social situation. And now you take a look at the social situation in and of itself, not just the fact that you're judging it morally, because that's what I was doing on some church shit. I was judging it as a Southern Baptist. You feel me? And like, oh, you know, y'all bad, y'all wrong, whatever. But it's like, no, wait a minute. They're showing you the game. And as they were showing me the game, I saw parts of the city that a lot of people didn't see, and the way that it operated, not just certain parts of the city, but the way that it operates. And it's like, all right, how am I judging this as a highly moral situation, first and foremost from the jump, as if I am already in a highly moral established situation? I was projecting a high moral whatever upon America, upon the social situation here, and thinking that, okay, you know what, my uncles was poisoning that, if you will, in some form of fashion. You know what I'm saying? Doing this bad guy shit, as opposed to just supplying a demand. It's not a quality social situation to begin with. It's already, it is of the worst quality that a holistic communal people could ever be about. And that's black people, indigenous Americans, whatever.
But I understand what you're saying. But again, in my when I look at the culture thing, I look at it sort of anecdotally, right? Because if you look at other races of men, they have a level throughout the entire culture that they all must adhere to. They must adhere to it. There's certain boundaries that they don't allow to happen, even with their women. To us, our parents sort of alluded to it. Like what I saw in my family, I saw a lot of women. My mother had 6 sisters. All of them was married to death. All of them. I grew up with 5 sisters. I had a brother. My father was probably the craziest dude I knew. And to our pain's point, he drank a lot. That used to let me know I'm not gonna drink a lot. He yelled at me a lot. Y'all can't yell at me like he did. He put me to work. You know what I'm saying? He didn't allow that. My mother cooked every day. Everybody had responsibilities. And growing up around my friends, we talked to each other. We would sit around in groups like this, maybe smoking our little weed, drinking, and we talking to each other about, man, that girl let you down. Man, why she ain't give you no play? Oh, man, she was talking to old boy. Oh, that dusty dude? Yeah, man, let her go. So it was times where that camaraderie was there. And, you know, to my Gen Xers, man, we y'all saw the shift since y'all been young men where that crack changed the game. It put the women's... Even though the feminist movement sort of started the divide,
it was a catalyst.
The mothers still had a lot of mothers still carry some value to their children. It's a lot of dudes came from single parents that came up out of the projects. You know what I'm saying? That defied the odds and was told, you 1 in 4 black men in the inner city 3 of y'all ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
Brothers took advantage. Today, it's like people are still in their own way a lot. They've survived the worst of it. I'm gonna shut up. Give me 1 minute. They've been through things about people that should love them the most. A lot of these things come out at early in age. When you start getting away from your family and those girls that didn't like you, but they like you and they talked about you, when they start going through all of that, now they're coming into adulthood. They'd already survived it. And this is why I like the message, man. It's a great opportunity for young men to step away from the women. They telling you they don't want you. Women 30 years ago didn't yell it out.
Other women are choosing too. Shit, what the fuck? Don't go for the woman that don't want you. Go for the woman that wants you.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay.
Shit.
There's an elephant in this room. There's an elephant in this room we have just stumbled upon, gentlemen. I was whooping this person's ass in chess. I'm gonna close this game down. What almost angers me with black men now is their disdain, their complaints about black women. I just don't get it. You are outnumbered by 2 million. You are outnumbered by 2 million. Before you count the sweet pickles, the day-days, just got outs. Before you count any, and before you count before you count the rest of the world's women,
right,
clamoring to get with you and pushing and shoving in line. Why are you not allowing women to raise their hands and go, hi, over here, I'm uncoachable. Me, and I have a channel. And here's where the uncoachables group. And look at women, go to their social media and cancel every one of them and their friends. This is FBI profiling that y'all don't want to do. And it just pisses me off because you are it. If you are it, this is what's going to make it, gentlemen. The capable, qualified, strong males among us are going to survive. Whether that means with other people of other races or not, it's up to you. But that's all that's going to make it. Those men, and again, back to Isaiah 4, those men are going to be able to pick and choose the women in their orbit.
Right.
And I'd be damned if social media ain't helping you with that. You can go back at least 10 years and see who a girl is or was. I landed there.
Well, just real quick. I think it's 2 components that we never want to talk about. I don't know why. Well, I think I do know why, but I don't want to offend anybody, so I'll keep it to myself. But one is, where did all this power come from that the women have? Right? The leadership of this country is still men. Right? So whatever it is that we think the women are doing or not doing, whatever programming they have, all of it was facilitated by men. It just so happened to be the men that black men don't ever want to talk about, the boogeyman. And then the other thing is, the part that black men really don't ever want to talk about is the money component. Right? The reason why the women have the power that they have, and we're sitting on panels every day talking about the destruction of men, the conspiracy to destroy black boys, the undermining of masculinity, all this shit that's against men. Meanwhile, we on the internet every day saying we the strongest one, we the big bold ones, we the one that keep everything going. So how can it be the destruction of us at the hands of the people that we keep saying are the weaker ones? Because it ain't them doing it. But y'all don't want to, nobody, I'm going to say y'all, nobody don't ever want to discuss the ones who are. Because it's more lucrative, it's more money to just come on the internet every day and bash each other, which is exactly what they want you to do anyway. right?
They're
And then
being
you don't wanna
minions,
talk
though.
about
That's
the
thing.
money component of it either, right? Which is to the point that Jeff said it's 2 million more of them, right? I remember some years ago when I saw the video where the guy said the dude was telling him about the Rockefellers, and I just found that clip again recently and made a short out of it. He said they said we funded feminism. We was the one who pushed it because we saw as half the country is not being taxed. That doesn't make any sense, right? And that was then. Now it's not only 2 million more black women than it is black men, it's 2 million more white women than it is white men, right? So just off, and I don't know what it looked like for the Mexicans, but if then if it's more Mexican women than Mexican men, you see where I'm going with this. You're not gonna defeat them. It's not gonna happen because they're not the ones behind this.
I gotta push way back on a lot of that, Beans, with love, bro. And I'm gonna do it backwards from what you just spit out.
Can you do it with facts?
Here's a cultural fact.
Mm-hmm.
If a Mexican man from a Mexican culture is in a room in disagreement with 10 women, they're outnumbered. They do not, you cannot in any way compare. The Mexican, that's it. You stepped in the wrong bag of turds. Not Mexican men, tell you that right now. They don't play that shit today.
Yeah, they don't. I agree.
Okay,
1000%.
so no.
I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
Number 2.
I'm confused about what you're saying.
You were saying that if Mexican, and like you were saying, relatively, there are 2 million more white women than white men, putting them at a disadvantage. There are 2 million more black women than us, putting us at a disadvantage. You put the Mexicans right up next to that, and that's a mistake. That is not true at all.
Right up next to anything. I said I don't know. What I don't know if it's more. I don't know if there's more women than it is men.
And okay, absolutely. And
what
I
Uncle
said,
Jeff was stating was the
point.
power fact with that. The fact that one Mexican man can still best the social power of 10 Mexican women when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, I guess directing or order or whose word is what.
That's true. That is true. It's not just like that. My bad.
Yes. Now, if this,
so you're saying basically that they don't have the infighting that we have.
They don't have who?
They don't have the infighting that we have.
Oh, absolutely not,
bruh.
Absolutely.
I'm trying.
I just want to make sure I understand. Can I get a yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying to you.
Okay, cool.
They do not. But the other thing that I'm saying to you is that feminism has nothing to do with the problem of black people in America for this reason. The true core of feminism in America is about the white woman not getting her fair share of what her man stole from the Indians. And that don't have shit to do with us. Feminism, from its core, has never done anything for black women but lead them astray. There is no time. I'm disagreeing with the feminism not being our core problem. Our core problem is true. Black women got foolishly swept up in it. But the core problem came before that. The welfare state came before that. The Willie Lynch letter came before that. The real talk, bruh, the sword that has never been dropped was when black men were tortured in front. The cliff notes to this is when black men were tortured in front of black women. Those black women were told, if you don't want this to happen to your son, you better get his ass in line. And that is when, that is, you wasn't taking these people, these indigenous black people here that look like you and me, and the ones who were shipped here, bro, they wasn't taking the slave lightly. the way we was hearing about this. There are uprisings that were not recorded, mass eliminations of the other side that were not recorded, and they had to do these things in order. These people that were brought here were not savages. These were architects.
Yes.
These were farmers. These whites couldn't get this land to work. And in order to neuter them, they neutered the man. And from that point to this point, I'm sorry.
I'm confused because you said you were pushing back. I don't remember saying feminism was the core. I remember specifically saying that there's two things that Black men in these spaces particularly never want to talk about. One is the white man, and two, the problem with capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, I can make an argument that feminism is at the core of it, because I can make an argument that feminism started it. The reason being is that even when you say whatever it was that we went through during slavery, when you fast forward to 1960, we're married at a rate of over 70%. We had already established Black Wall Streets all around the country. There was no gang banging and all the infighting and all of that. We had pretty much overcame that as a majority.
So let me ask you something, Beans. Why is it that you think?
Real quick, let me get this out the way.
They brought in something new, but it was actually old, right? Which was the Eve complex, basically, to start the whole thing all over again. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Coach Clinton in the building, man. He said he would have been here tonight, but he had a lot to do in his office today. But thank you, man, for the $7.77. Let's see here. He said woke therapy feminized men, but therapy as a model doesn't. Many are trained to affirm liberal dogmas. Let's see. Hold on, my screen is
antithetical to our ancestors.
Yeah, but my screen is like green over here again.
And that's all right. Antithetical to our ancestors and our nature, buddy.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I gotta fix this shit. Hold on. All right. Yeah, but anyway, back to the conversation, man. Anton,
hey, Jordan, you have anything to pop in on what they're saying right now? Since you're,
I know everybody kind of went back to all of the events that took place that caused a huge shift in how we move and how we relate and how we operate and how we go after success and all this other stuff. But I will say we're gonna have to kind of, I'm not saying forget it or do away with it. We're gonna have to focus on, okay, what can we do about now, moving forward? Can we understand the market now? We got these relationship issues. We know that women are dating horizontally and up, and men are dating horizontally and down, and they missing each other. And then you got the top 20% participating in polygamy, pretty much. They're not compelled to check out and exit. So one could argue that the guys that are causing the problem is the guys that are at the top that don't want to pick the best one they can get and get out. So the women can be compelled to be like, well, there's no more options, so let me go talk to the average man. But then why would they do that whenever they can have their cake and eat it? But then you got the women that are willing to share. They just don't want to be direct with it. So it's the bottom 90%. We know the bottom 90% are incels, and I don't know if anybody's working with those guys. I don't know if there's any hope for those guys. A lot of those guys feel useless. Suicide
the bottom of 90% of what population?
Of men.
It's not 90%.
You think incels?
Bottom 90% of men. The bottom 90% of men are pretty much out of the data market.
What's the age group on that?
Damn. It don't matter.
It does. It doesn't.
Okay, let's go with what you're saying. Go ahead.
90% is pretty much everybody.
I didn't say 90%.
Yeah.
I said the bottom 90%. So if you bracket it up, you got 100%, and you got 20 to 15%, and then you got 90%, but at the bottom of that. So that could be maybe a third of the 90.
Yeah.
The 90.
I may put it at like 7 or 8% gross total.
It could be more than that. I mean, they said I think at the 30, I think a third of guys is not even getting laid.
Yeah, that's correct.
So if you accurately measure it, you would be surprised. There's a guy named Professor G, And I think Richard Ross or Richard Reeves has wrote a book on this stuff, and they collaborated. And I came to my understanding, man, that we used to think that provisions was the main thing that women sought after in the dating market, but now it's changed. It's actual emotional intelligence.
Okay, it's emotional intelligence, but they going
That's
more
what-
hoe with it too. So how you
No,
how you desire more emotional intelligence, but your social archetype on the average goes mo ho. That don't make no sense. I done seen young
There-
bitches
yeah.
having conversations saying that women should date for money. Bitch, that makes you a hoe. But they don't want to claim it in this future times.
There's
They do
another.
claim it, and they do claim it, and they promote it. They say it to each other. They believe in it highly. Women are not ashamed anymore. They're not ashamed of that behavior anymore.
Transactional is their deal.
They do not.
What was they
They do
post? From my understanding, and all throughout history, women always dated. They always looked at or cleaved to the man who could actually provide resources.
Yep, hypergamy.
I wouldn't call that hypergamy. That sounds more like survival.
There you go.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
there you go. Okay.
In this matrix, that's
here's
home.
here's when it leaps over survival into hypergamy in a system that allows you to make your own money as a base for living. So then, am I going to deal with a man who makes less than this or more than this? It's survival when that disappears, which is what I often ask sisters. If you judge your man by the dollar he makes, what will you judge him by when the dollar collapses? So, and this was my other little bit of pushback, Brother Darwin. The math dictates that if women are to survive, and I say this all the time, ladies, if you under 30 and you want a black man in the future, the math dictates that you share him. I believe that a man should be with as many women as he can be honest with. The minute you got to lie, you got too many women. Number two, I believe that all women want to come into some stage of a man and get into a threesome with him and his purpose. You supposed to be fucking the shit out of your purpose when she come up. Not in foreplay. Anybody can come join Afterglow. It's like a special girl to join you in foreplay with your purpose. That is what and that's why I had to put back a little bit on Brother R. Payne with sperm donation as a means for income. That says what you don't think your line. I couldn't do that. There's other ways to make money. Your line, when your line becomes important, you can look at it that way. And I'll land it here. I don't think any black man should be having sex with any woman that does not serve his purpose. I need an accountant. I need a lawyer. I fly a lot. I need somebody in the airline industry. You can fuck them women just like you can the girl at Hog on the Stick. What are you choosing?
Two things I always question. I don't understand this. The hypergamy thing. That's some new shit, man. There's no way you're going to have a marriage rate of 60, 70, 80%, where we've seen those kind of numbers historically, if people are practicing quote unquote hypergamy, right? Is one of the things that I explained about the marriage rate with Hispanics. I mean, even with the thing that we like to say about Hispanic men, they ain't taking no shit. But guess what? They marriage rate plummeting. It's under 60% now, right? So coming down like everybody else's. I think they're at around 58 the last time I checked. But in order for you to have that kind of marriage rate, that means regular people getting with regular people. That's what that means. It ain't, oh, you know what? I think he gonna be the one to be a perfect. No, I'm getting with this dude. He might not have nothing. We gonna build something though. Right? He might have good genes. He come from a good stock. It's all kind of other things besides the fact that he's gonna provide. You could have that was, I think, a norm. The normality was you're gonna get to this point, but there's no way that you had these high marriage rates and people would have been practicing some form of hypergamy. It's not.
Beans, excuse me. Are you discussing the Mexicans here or Mexican marriages?
Well, right now I'm just talking about people in general. But when I'm
people in general
about Mexicans here.
Oh, okay, yeah, because Mexico has a divorce rate that's lower than most developed countries.
Probably, I can believe that, but that's what I'm saying. We talking about here in America, right? We're not gonna go change Mexico. We're not gonna go change Canada. We're not gonna go change the UK. So we're talking about here, and so
we're talking about the Western culture too, right? From the Western philosophy, that's what you're talking about. I did this show called "Women Don't Need Men Until They Do."
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me get this out. Culture Clinician again, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. He said emotionally intelligent requires emotional regulation. They project what they are not to you. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the point I really think about the women, the modern women. It was a married woman; she was divorced, and the guy was in her random male orbiter was trying to court her, and she wouldn't come on to him. And she said, "Listen, I don't want to wine and dine. I just want somebody to clean my fucking yard. I want somebody to do this and that. All the shit that her ex-husband used to do for her, she wants this guy. She wants him to do that to court her." And so when I did the video, I said, that shit, she don't need a man until she does. But the real truth of the matter is, she's not sexually attracted to that man. Because if she was, he wouldn't have to pick up a fucking rake. He would be in there busting those cheeks. And the guy is like a simp, right? He's going to do all of these things. And what she said, she actually said this. If you do all these things, I might consider, I might consider just putting you on the list. I'm not giving you no ass. I didn't say I'm giving you some ass. I just might consider putting you on the list. And that's where a lot of women have the modern men. Especially if they're not part of the 10%.
Okay, so you're saying that
if they ain't part of the 10%.
Was that just your own thought? You weren't responding.
It's not my thought. They say it all the time.
No. I understand my question. I'm saying you weren't responding to what I said, right?
No, I'm sorry.
Because you cut me off like you were going to respond to what I was saying.
No, it wasn't you. No, it wasn't directly towards you, Beans. No.
Okay.
I'm just talking in general. I'm sorry. I thought you was finished. Anyway, I'm finished now. But that's what I'm saying, because the general conversation about where we are in the modern era, we might not like feminism, but it poisoned women all over the place, and black women are especially poisoned because they have an extreme inferiority complex when it comes to white women, when it comes to needing to be affirmed, when it comes to all of the bullshit. That's why they get the bullhorn on every bullshit fuck shit that the liberals talk about. There's a black woman behind it. Lesbianism, LB, the alphabet mafia, every cause, even the goddamn, even the illegal aliens, even when they're sucking the tax dollars dry, there's some black woman involved.
See, this is what I mean.
Okay, so that means she belongs to them then, and people got a hard time accepting that. Look. Okay, so let's put this in terms of the game. Would you say that black men have been knocked for their woman?
Say that again.
Have been what?
Would you say that black men have been knocked for their woman in that sense?
Oh.
I think that men need to recognize it and move past the women who've been poisoned. I don't think so.
I don't many of them.
Well, I'm saying there's no saving some of them.
That's not fair.
What I'm saying is you can't. You're not
I'm sorry.
You're not gonna ask men to move past the women because it's too many of them. That's the point. You're not gonna change them because you only want to talk about them. We can't. Here's the thing. I will. If somebody says, "Yo, we can't fix it," I'm with you 100%. We can't. But at the same time, They ain't the problem. Somebody is programming them.
Definitely, definitely so.
Creating
Definitely
all
so. They're being marionetted.
everything else that they using. All this shit that we complaining about them, they weren't this in 1955.
The complaints about them started from lames, not the one who loved them.
Yeah, but if
That's
you're going to
the
break the
issue.
programming, when you want to break the program, if that's the conversation we have to have, right? How do you break the program?
Okay, so Darwin, you got an
You
answer for
can't
that?
break the programming of feminism. You better respect it. Are you kidding me?
Darwin, you got an answer for that? How do you break
I don't think
vampirism?
Hold on, y'all. Let the
I don't
guest,
think there's
let the
no
guest speak.
breaking
Hold on,
of
fellas.
the program. The program was designed to do something, but it failed, and a lot of women went back to their husbands. A lot of white women went back to their husbands, but all it does is just expose women for who they really are. The liberation and the freedom just allows them to express their true mentality on the way they think. So it should just make it easier for men to be more selective whenever they choose. And it's just almost like you can't go wrong. These women are telling you what they're about. But you got some guy. The only issue with that is guys who don't have a lot of options. Those guys are more susceptible to deal with and tolerate their boundaries being crossed. They're more susceptible to tolerate disrespect when they have limited options. So you still have that issue, even though the women are still reckless, promiscuous, coming in with high body counts, being disrespectful, being deceitful, and all these other things. If you don't got your shit together, it doesn't matter. You're gonna lose. You got to be on your. You got to have yourself squared away, and it's not contingent upon just getting a woman. It should just be because you want to be the best version of yourself. You just want to be a better man, and the women are going to come in spite of that. They're going to be a byproduct of your success. And if we get more men to shape their men around their like I like what the brother said about the screwing your purpose. Focus on your purpose, and the women will come. If you do that, the women are going to align. But there's also other things that you have to account for. The market tells you what these women are going after, and you just got to be willing to play the game. A lot of guys are not willing to play the game. They want to go overseas, and that's not a bad option. The societies overseas, the shape of women, they still have the femininity and the cooperation that you can still go and cleave to. But if you want to,
question, Mac, please
go ahead.
Two questions actually. The first one is when you say that it's showing who women really are. Can you give me just maybe 2 or 3 examples of what that is?
Okay, I would say the women want to be more sexually open and profound. You know, they want to show. They want to be more. Modesty is a thing of the past. You look at the way women dressed in the 60s and the 70s. For the most part, you could tell between the hooker and a woman who was a wife. Now they all blended.
Okay, so they want to be more sexual. That's one.
The second thing that women they want you to have. They want you to have money. They want you to have resources. They do not want to build with you. And if they build with you, and if they surpass you, the likelihood of them filing for divorce is 3 times increased because of the respect goes out of the door whenever they start out earning you. So the hypergamy thing is still a curse, and it's not a curse for us. It's just a curse for the woman because we can always go ahead.
I want to make sure. So you don't need a third one. If you would like, that's cool. But I think these 2 are perfect. Actually, the first one, right, being more sexual. Again, I think that's based on the program because your specific words were who they really are, and that's where I think I differ from people. I accept that this is who they are, but I don't think that's who they really are. When you're talking about who they really are, then we're talking about innately. And I don't think this is who they really are. I think women are more susceptible to programming than men. I think they're going to go along, period, point blank, right? It's like they say when they had the wars. When the war is over with, what do the women do? They go with the winners, right?
You know why, don't you?
That's just like that might be in their nature, right? To go along with the program of those who are in charge, right? But the people who are in charge made the world more profane. Remember when they wouldn't even curse on TV, right? To the point now where they cussing, showing things and all kind of stuff on regular TV, right? Somebody had something to do with that programming change. The other thing that you said though was about them not wanting to build. Now I think that's a good example, but I don't necessarily again know if that's a product of who they really are, right? if you're telling me naturally I can take a baby and put it in a healthier environment besides this Western world that we live in, and that girl will grow up to not want to build, I just can't believe that. I think that is also based on programming, right? The fact is that we opened up the door for you to have more as a woman. And now that you have more, you want men to have more. But that's always been the case. It's never been a time where women didn't want the man to have more than them. That's never, ever, ever. So but it used to be if she had $1, then you could have $1.10, and that was good enough. But now it's not that. She wants you to have what she have or more, but we've opened it up for them to be able to access more. You see, I don't know if you're actually giving examples of what is innate to being a woman.
If she already belongs to the market, though, you can't hold that against her.
He had 2 questions for Matt. So that was your first one. What's your second one?
Well, he wanted to respond. I can get the second one.
Well, to your argument, I agree. I wouldn't call it programming. I like to lean more on inspiration, and they one could say that they can run parallel. I would say it's what a woman is inspired by, and it starts at a young age. Who she followed, the music she listened to, the books she reads, her icons, her peers can shape who she is. But regardless of the fact, that is who they are. We can't take that accountability away from them. We can't take that off of their plate. That is who they are. That's who you become. Whatever you observe and you bring into your mind, whatever you absorb into your being, you can become something different every day. The more you bring in more. So I'm not going to take that off the table for them. That is who they are, and it is case by case. I'm not saying it's all a woman.
Right, absolutely. No, I know you weren't doing it, and I know you need to.
It may apply because I got a wife. No, I would be wrong. I would be an asshole to sit up here and say all women are like that. So
absolutely. By the way, that gives you a little more credibility than a lot of these other guys too. Congratulations on that. But the second question is, and I agree with you that that's who they are. Again, the idea of it being innate is bothersome to me. The second question is, I did a short on this the other day, BMU. What do y'all mean when y'all say purpose? Now, I hate when people ask questions and go on long tangents after that. I'm not going to go on a long one. I'm just going to give you my preference to the question, which is my little brother set himself on fire. He was like just barely in his 30s. Was that his purpose? 3 kids below the ages of 4 died in a car accident, crashed into a semi truck. Was that their purpose? What does purpose mean? One person makes 50K, another person makes 100K, another person makes 500K. Is the one who makes 500K the only one on his purpose because he makes the most money? What does that mean? Literally.
Anybody else want to take that?
I can give you an example.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
We should go round robin on that one. We should go. Whoever wants to go first.
Well, I'm asking Matt because he said.
I'll go last. I'll go.
Oh, you're asking? Okay, yeah. Who you asking?
Yeah, no, I mean, of course everybody can respond, but I'm just saying I'm asking Matt because he said it.
He was agreeing with me.
Gotcha.
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Y'all gave me a new name, Matt.
Yeah, Darwin. That's it.
Sorry about it.
Yes.
All right, let me give
you Mac every time we on the
I like the question you asked because it's important to ask this question because it's pretty layered. Purpose is subjective to the individual. So, for example, and I'll just give you an example. Let's just pretend Mr. Beans runs a farm and he grows all of the produce in a particular county. And his produce is responsible for all of the markets within the 250-mile radius to be able to supply groceries to the community for survival. His purpose is to get up every single day and make sure the produce is right and they get shipped out to the stores. Point blank simple. Because if he fails, then the markets don't have any produce. People start getting hungry, and then they got to go to other places for food where they get taxed outside of the county. So you can look at that as an example of purpose. And it can come in many definitions. And I would like to hear everybody else's thoughts on it.
Yeah. And after we answer these guys.
I don't know if that suffices for you.
Right. And
Now, I had a follow up, but it was to substantiate what you just said, though.
And after everybody answer this question and give their response for that, we're gonna wrap it up. I know I want to respect Darwin's time as well as everybody else on the panel. But yeah, go ahead and everybody can go ahead and give their with their thoughts on what Beans asked.
Real quick for me, it was just, it's really funny. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have a career and a wife and children. That was my purpose. And my promise to my father-in-law was that I'd take care of his daughter until the day we die. And for 38 years, it's been a lot of my purpose. Now, I'm not asking any other man to do that for a family and a wife and a business. But one of the things I understood was the obligation was for me to never put her in a position that she had to wonder whether she made the right choice or not because she was struggling. Everything has been on me for 38 fucking years, man. But that's my purpose. It keeps me going. My daughters and everything else, not just the woman. It's just I wanted to be a family man. That's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be an engineer. And back in the 70s, when I was an engineer, I was a spook who sat by the door. I had to do a whole bunch of shit to get what I got. So, and it shaped me. Not that I was a victim, but it made me. It gave me an armor around a lot of bullshit that I hear today. So, and I don't want to get into that part, but that was a purpose for me. Now, even though I'm out of shape and shit like that, wasn't always this way. But the point really is, it drives me. Now, what I know, I give to my family. So I feel like that's my purpose. And every man has some kind of purpose, but it's case by case. It's on an individual basis. And I wouldn't pass judgment on any other man's purpose. And all this landed there.
Hold on a second, I got about 5 minutes left. I want to make sure I get this in, Durham, because I hadn't got an opportunity to ask him a question. Durham, are you familiar with Universe 25?
Universe 25. No, sir. You're going to have to enlighten me on that.
All right. Gentleman by the name of Robert, what was his last name? Shoot. I just had it.
Green?
No. It was John Calhoun. Basically, what happened was John Calhoun set up a mouse utopia. Okay. And what happened was he gave these mice everything they could ever want.
Yes, sir.
All the food they ever wanted, all the sex they want to have, gave them all the space they want to have. And what happens is within maybe about 2 or 3 generations, the whole entire thing collapsed. And what I'm looking at now is some of what's going on now. They had a subset of mice that were known as the beautiful ones. Those are the ones who didn't have access to the women. So all they did was sat around by one side of the mouse utopia, and all they did was groom themselves. Then they had a bunch of other rats who would actually set up barricades so the other rats couldn't mate with the other women. Those are the ruffians. And pretty much those rats killed each other. And then they had a subset of women rats who would actually stop nurturing their babies, and all of a sudden they would just die out.
Yeah.
So my question to you is this: seeing some of those similarities on what's going on and what we've looked at over the past, could you surmise that this is something that we would have to take a real great consideration on because of the collapse of our society as it is? Because if I look at how men are being treated, as it is to the conversation or the topic, is that they're trying to turn men into something that they're not. And as a result, society is collapsing. This is more of a national security type situation because we don't have guys who want to build. We don't have guys who want to wake up and have 2 and 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? Because the deck has been stacked in such a way, whether it be psychological, whether it be educational, whether it be spiritual in some cases, where the literal will have been stripped away from men, and it's decaying society. So my question to you is this: do you see any relevance to what's going on with Universe 25 than what we're seeing right now, what's going on today?
Absolutely, I see it. I see the relevance. And that a book that you read?
It was an experiment that took place in 1972.
It's an actual real life experiment.
Yes, sir.
Yes. As a matter of fact, my second podcast was called "Are You a Man or Your Mouse?" And I did it on that, and it was actually detailing on what we're seeing today, and that was 2 years ago.
They called it Mousetopia. I forget the name of the
Yeah, can you put it in the chat, lost in
Mouse-
translation, for the people that don't know who it is? Know what that research was. You put it in the chat for people.
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
Go ahead, Matt.
what's going on
I'm
right
gonna
now.
let you
Go ahead.
close us out, Matt. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's fascinating that you brought that up, man. And what I also like to add to that, I don't know if this actually aligns with that experiment, but I also see an extinction going on. I don't know about y'all, but when I was younger, you know, my great grandmother, I don't know if y'all seen y'all great grandmother. I'm talking to millennials. I mean, not millennials, but Gen Z today, and none of them they didn't never even think that exists. They're like, what? Great grandma?
Wow.
Women are waiting until after 30 plus to have their kids. So grandmothers for the first time are around 60, which would put great grandmothers around 90. They were already, the life expectancy is at 78, 80. So I think the choice or the programming, sort of like what Mr. Beans was saying, or the inspiration to push women into financial stability and to being more career driven, is cutting off an extra hand, an entire generation from the nuclear family. And we don't even realize it. Because grandmothers for the first time back in, I think, the 50s and 60s used to be age 48. Now it's 60. It's 20 years now. So
I actually knew my great grandmother too. I knew my great grandmother as well.
Yeah, because I remember whenever I used to go to the Thanksgiving holidays, and Big Mama used to cook big dinner for everybody. Now we don't even have family reunions anymore. I don't even know.
Fact.
I think family reunions is gone now.
Yeah, it is.
I remember we used to have the shirts with the names and all this stuff on the back. We don't even have the family tree on the back. We don't even have that no more.
Yeah,
we still do.
Like,
Actually, my family still has their reunions from time to time. One of the things that I'm actually responsible for on my side of the family, on my dad's side, is putting together the branches on my side of the family that are here in the States. I got a cousin in Canada who's responsible for putting together the branch of our family from his branch, because his grandmother and my grandmother were sisters. So any of her family, he will put together those branches. Any of my grandmother's family on my dad's side, I was putting together those branches. My dad was showing me what to do in that aspect, as well as one of my cousins in Europe. One of my cousins in Switzerland was doing the same thing. So there's still families that are putting together branches, that are still having family reunions and everything else. I think it's a little bit more spread out because you do have families that live in different parts of the country. I've always had family in Canada for as long as I can remember. I've always had family in Switzerland and Italy for as long as I can remember. And I think the one good thing, because of the internet and social media, it makes it easier to send information to one another when you're building those branches for your family.
Okay, now real quick, Darwin. So because we finished shut down, we got 45 seconds. Can you tell everybody how to reach you, man? You have great content. Tell everybody how to reach you, man. How to subscribe, how to come like it, see you when you go live. All that real quick, and then we'll end the show.
Well, I'm on Instagram as at Darwin McPherson. YouTube, it's the same. Facebook, TikTok, all of that. I usually go live Tuesdays through Thursdays because I've been doing like free live consultations and stuff instead of the private ones, which are the premium ones. And I upload, when I get the chance. I'm a family man. I got my kids, and I'm trying to be in their life as much as I can because I know what's out there in the world. So it's important for me to be there every step of the way. But BMU, a Black Man Unfiltered, right? I appreciate you. A lot of y'all guys I see, a lot of y'all guys are like OGs to me. Like,
yeah.
Our Pain, all y'all guys were here before me. So I appreciate y'all still ushering me and calling me a friend in this space and still allowing me to come up, because y'all saw my growth. Y'all saw me start from nothing. And I was just sitting there just inching away, and everybody was picking on me back then. But, but I appreciate everybody's support and continue to push the truth.
All right, man. I appreciate you too, man. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for coming out tonight, man. Thank you, Darwin. Thank you, everybody that came out, man. We appreciate you. We see you guys next Tuesday. We're going to be talking about playing house. That it was more detrimental for kids playing house when they were younger than older people touching them. We're going to talk about that next Tuesday.
Also, I got one more thing to say. I apologize to Lost in translation. I think I was on a panel one time with him, Sir Hill, and
On
So
Humble
I
Dad's
was back,
podcast.
and they enlightened me on something, and